How's it going, guys? We are here. We're a little early, so if you are watching this on a replay, fast forward about 15 minutes. That's when Murder Trade's going to actually start. This is more of just like a hangout sesh because I didn't have much else to do right now, so I thought, why not? Mega's cooking. I should probably be doing the cooking since she's pregnant, but there's Miley. Early cat sighting. So, if you guys are new and you've never seen this before, Miley, come on. This is not really keto related at all. This is, we tell stories about murder, crimes, mysteries, and everyone in the chat kind of gives their theories, and it's fun. It's like serious topic, but we try to make it a little fun. But yeah, not really keto. So, a lot of people think all our videos are keto, and like 90% of them are. This is the only one that's not. So we're not going to start the stories until 5:30, about 13 minutes from now. But my story tonight, guys, woo-wee! It's a good one. A lot of twists, a lot of turns, and actually this story that I have tonight, new evidence was just found in December 2018, and it's a really interesting twist. And Mega's telling me that she just has like a really big, complicated, winding story, so that'll be fun. Yeah. And we have waffles, protein waffles, and then Mega is making bacon on the waffle maker.
Is that possible?
I think it is. Have you guys ever made bacon on a waffle maker?
We made protein waffles, one for each of us. Matt has pork rinds.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I actually had an early dinner at like 3 p.m. because I was hungry after the gym, so I ate a bunch. So I'm not going to be eating my usual volume here tonight. Just going to have more of a snack dinner. The biggest mystery is how you get your shirt on over that nose. It is quite a mystery.
That is funny.
I used to be more self-conscious about my nose, but there's not really much you can do about it. Just got to live with it. Doing my best over here. Got to excel in other areas of life, you know? I'm not getting by on my nose. I'm addicted to this Keto Murder Mysteries now. Love the shirt, by the way. Yeah, so a viewer actually made this. Ketone Mint is her name. And she's always on here. She's probably in here right now. She recommends cases and stuff. How far along is Mega? She is...
21 weeks.
21 weeks. 21. And my case, guys, is actually a Netflix 4-part documentary series, and it's a really good one. It's not in English, but it's totally worth watching. The name of it is, we watched it about 2 years ago, but Mega doesn't remember. The name of the documentary is Shadow of Truth. It's on Netflix. Hey Mega, hi Matt, just ordered your book. Oh, we're gonna do a giveaway for the pre-show, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what we're gonna do here. So we're gonna do a giveaway for a cookbook on the pre-show.
Or we could do like our 3 ebooks. What would be better?
We could just do it all.
Okay, we could do it all.
Let's just do it all. Right, okay, I'm trying to figure out. Might be a little laggy here. This computer's not really great for streaming.
Can you do bacon in a waffle iron?
Yeah.
Only like the squares are getting cooked. You know?
It should work. One sec, guys. I'm coming up with a giveaway here. Okay, if you go to our Facebook page, Keto Connect 2, go to our Facebook page. There's a comment that says, "We're live right now." If you comment on that, we're going to pick a commenter at random, and we'll give away... Actually...
What is the comment?
Suggest a case that you're interested in. A murder mystery, UFO sighting, Bigfoot, anything like that. Whatever you're most personally interested, comment that to give us some ideas, and we'll pick a winner for a giveaway. It's on our Facebook page.
Does that look cooked?
No. Not cook it a little more. Maybe move it around a little.
I have been. I don't think this is a great tactic.
You've got me addicted to true crime. The last few months I've been binging True Crime Garage. That's a really good podcast. My personal favorite is Generation Y. Check that one out too.
I like Small Town Murder.
Mega like Small Town Murder. Are y'all in ATL proper or outside the perimeter? Last year we lived in an apartment inside the perimeter. Now we're outside. We're in the suburbs.
OTP.
Yeah, you know me. Rick Salas donates $2. Thank you. Is the feed okay, guys? A couple people commenting on it. I think when I open up too many tabs, it just gets a little laggy. I don't know. Somebody knows something? I've listened to that a few times too. Thanks for doing this. Oh, people are saying that to us, but you too.
Oh.
Any inspired by your long weekend? Savannah has so much cool murder stuff. We actually didn't check out the murder stuff. We just kind of had a relaxing vacation. That's kind of more my style. Sometimes we go on vacations and there's like a bunch of planned stuff to do, and I don't really like that as much. I like to just kind of hang out. Guys, you have to comment on our Facebook page to enter the giveaway. There's a comment on our page that says we're live now. Just comment on that post. Does Mega still do intermittent fasting? No, she's pregnant. I don't think it's advisable really when you're pregnant. I take you everywhere around the world with me. I'm a flight attendant. How do you like being a flight attendant? I always wonder about that. For me, I'm so much of like a routine-oriented person. That would be tough for me. Yeah, this should be a good one today. I've heard of Mega's case before. Mega's doing the disappearance of Misty Copsey.
Misty Copsey.
Misty Copsey.
Here on my laptop.
I've definitely heard of this case before, but off the top of my head, I don't know what it is. When did you get home? We got home on Sunday. Usually our videos are slightly delayed because it takes me some time to edit them. I don't edit things on the road. Shout out to my beautiful wife. Her birthday is in a few days. Happy birthday,
Beautiful wife.
Christine or Christine. Now I always have a keto filed lunchbox. I don't know what that means. Are you feeling the baby move?
Yeah.
Yeah, one time when it was kicking a lot, she tried having me feel it, but I couldn't feel anything. Katharina Cuero, $2 donation. Okay to take sports salts and magnesium before sleep? How much magnesium is in sports salts?
Let's see.
It's probably not too bad, but... This has 667 milligrams of magnesium carbonate, and I don't know what percentage of magnesium that is. I'm trying to look it up. So, yeah, sometimes when you see on the supplements, it'll say like potassium bicarbonate, 900 milligrams. That doesn't mean you're getting 900 milligrams of potassium, because potassium bicarbonate is a certain amount, a certain percentage amount of potassium. I can't figure this out right now, though.
That was cooked, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Just a second here.
Mega, you inspire me to work out. Can you do a video on basic muscle building workout, please?
Yeah, I guess I could. I'll just be pregnant when I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be like...
There's people that are better at that than us. That's the thing.
Yeah, that is true.
Like...
that I pull from.
Yeah. Gabrielle Rodriguez dropping 25 bucks on the table. Gabriella, you guys are the best. Huge fan. Me and hubby been on keto for almost 2 months. You guys are our inspiration. I work in Atlanta, but I'm originally from Puerto Rico. If you are visiting PR and need recommendations, I have plenty.
Oh my god, I think we are going to be visiting soon.
Yeah, we're going to try to.
Like maybe in like a month.
Oh, to enter the giveaway, guys, there's a comment on our Facebook page, Keto Connect. It says, "We are live now." Just comment on that post with your favorite or the murder mystery or the mystery you're most interested in currently. Hello from Amsterdam. I can't wait to hear what the name of the baby boy is going to be. Should we tell him?
No.
No,
Surprise.
When it's born?
No, I think when we're putting together like the baby room, because maybe some things will say his name.
Okay, we'll tell you down the road a little bit. I think we're settled on the name though.
Oh, and yeah.
Are we settled on the middle name too?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, some of these pieces are burnt. I'll eat the burnt ones. I'm sorry. Do you want butter for your waffle?
Yeah, I want ghee. Macro counting is so hard. Is there a more simple way? There is a more simple way, is to just count carbs. And don't worry too much about calories and macros at the very start, but just make some kind of effort to get a good amount of fat in, because when you first start keto, the natural inclination is just to remove carbs and you don't really focus at all about adding fat, so that can make the diet not that sustainable or enjoyable. But yeah, just count carbs to start, and then you learn as you go. If counting macros isn't something you can do right now, I mean, every single person can learn how to track macros in 2 weeks to a month. You just gotta, learn. You gotta put some effort into it. Can we at least get middle name? Can they get middle name? No, Mega doesn't want me to. Middle name is what I wanted the first name to be, but it's just like kind of out there, and Mega didn't. She hates it actually.
You didn't even get my shirt.
Yeah, I did. Is this waffle recipe's on our website, right?
Yeah, it's our protein waffle recipe.
If you search Keto Connect protein waffles, that's the waffles we're having right now.
And so I chose the first name and Matt chose the middle name. So if he wants to share the middle name, he can.
I don't think I want to yet.
So you're blaming me for something you don't want. I see how it is. Okay. Sorry guys, that took me a while. We always think we're getting ready early and then we get ready late. And don't forget about the giveaway.
It's 5:30 now though, so.
Yeah.
Right on time.
Right on time.
Mega keeps saying how much of a gargantuan case she has today.
Yeah, it's like 6 pages in writing.
It's 6 pages?
Yeah.
Is this all relevant info?
Yeah.
You guys better not get worn out because my case is crazy.
Do you want to go first?
No. You always go first.
That's why I was like, maybe you want to.
Oh, Ketonement's in the building. What's up, Murder She Ate fam? She doesn't come early. She comes right on time, 5:30. What giveaway? I mentioned it a bunch of times. If you just rewind a few minutes, you'll hear it. It's on Facebook. Just comment.
Do I want butter or do I want syrup? I think one of the things that has been more difficult for me during pregnancy has been choosing my foods, which has already been difficult.
It's the hardest thing for you.
In life already.
She lives with regret constantly.
But pregnancy has just made it worse. So I don't know if I want to warm it up and put butter on it or I want syrup. I think I want butter. Give me a second. I'll warm it up here.
Middle name, Guy? Question mark?
That would be cute.
A lot of people actually have that name, but it's G-U-Y. It's like that's pronounced Guy, right? In French?
No, just Guy.
No, in French I think it's Guy. the best keto maple syrup. What do you like for keto maple syrup, Mega?
I just use, let me pull it out. There we go. So I don't really use it a ton, so I honestly, I just use the really chemically Walden Farms syrup. The first ingredient is
Chemical Farms.
water, basically.
It's water and xanthan gum and then
Yeah,
flavors.
so it's not a lot in there, but this is what I use when I use it.
It tastes pretty good.
Yeah, it tastes better than honestly like Lakanto or the other ones I've tried.
And it's 0 calorie, right?
Yeah, it just I've used a lot of it before and it gives me like stomach stuff. Like just, I don't feel great.
Yeah. I mean, literally every single ingredient is a chemical.
Yeah. I know. No, it's Chemical Farms for sure. It's like what all like the bodybuilders and like the fitness people on Instagram and stuff use. So I'm just spreading some butter.
Just got my first Isopure powder. Best recipe for it? Waffles, question mark?
No.
What's better?
Protein cakes,
Protein cakes.
in my
Those are
opinion.
good too.
Yeah.
They need Mrs. Butterworth's keto version. I think they make a sugar-free one.
They do, but it's also just very chemically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I just prefer this chemical concoction.
Your dinner looks delicious. I already had an actual dinner like 2 hours ago, guys. So this is not a typical dinner for me.
Yeah, we went to the gym, came back.
This is more of like an after-dinner snack, but I feel like I have to eat for the whole concept of Murder
Murder
She
She Ate.
Ate. Plus, I want to eat. It's not like I'm just doing a favor for you.
No, yeah, we always want to eat. Okay.
Any recommendations for L-arginine for my hubby? That's like a pre-workout type of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like pump inducer type of thing. I don't know. It's found in most pre-workouts. You can just get him one of those. Let me see this one that we use. Do we still have it? Oh. Yeah, this doesn't have L-arginine in it.
Started keto 3 weeks ago. As of last week, was down 16 pounds. Wow. Weighing in again in 2.5 hours. Okay.
You're weighing it? Wait, she's weighing it again in 2.5 hours?
Mm-hmm. You
Oh.
weigh after like all your food, or what time is it there? Robert, I think, the boy.
What do you guys like better, pancakes or waffles?
It's tough. I think I like pancakes.
I think pancakes can be elevated to a higher level, but waffles just have a baseline of being always pretty good.
And you can fill the holes with like butter and syrup.
A lot of people saying waffles.
Okay, let me start.
Here we go. Misty Copsey. Age of 14. Okay.
And
Down 60 pounds in 60-ish months. Love keto.
Ooh, that's amazing.
Are watermelons friendly with keto?
No, just water and sugar.
Yeah. Pancakes. Waffles are too thick.
Ooh, Matt would disagree. He likes his girls thick.
I mean, you can be too thick, though. Like Kim Kardashian, it's just too thick. It doesn't even look proportionate like it's a human being, like she's a human being.
Yeah, I think I would like to see her in person naked to really have an understanding of what's going
The
on.
proportions are just out of control. Nicki Minaj, too. It's like, what's happening? These are science experiments we're doing now.
But it's what we see on TV and like in pictures.
Yeah. I think Nicki Minaj and Kim Kardashian are the two that have just taken it like so far over the top.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm doing the Disappearance of Misty Copsey. This is going to take a while. So Misty was born on October 3rd.
You stole my knife.
Oh, I just was using it for butter. Sorry. Misty Copsey, we're going to just call her Misty, was born on October 3rd, 1978 and disappeared on September 19th, 1992 at the age of 14. She was 5'8", blonde hair, green eyes, so like really tall for a 14-year-old. And she was raised by her mom, so a single mother, in Puyallup, Washington. I think that's how you pronounce it. Looks right? Puyallup. Puyallup is a small town, about 25,000 people, and it's 10 miles outside of Tacoma, which is a bigger city. And Misty and her mother had a normal, loving relationship to the extent of we know, but they also fought, like so most parents and kids do. And a month before she went missing, they had a huge argument. So her mom thought she had just ran away because of the argument. So she went out to the police to file a missing persons.
A month prior, though?
Yeah. You're just holding on to it. So she went down to the police station to file a missing persons report. But when she returned, Misty was sitting in her bedroom. So, unfortunately, the mom never returns back to the police station to retract the report, and the police never follow up on it, so it's not really that big of a deal at the end of the day. On the actual day of her disappearance, Missy had gone to the Washington State Fair with a friend, and originally her mom had said no to her going because she was going to be working late through the night and couldn't pick Misty up, and she prefers obviously to pick her up. But after begging a while, her mom said yes, as long as she had found a ride, and she told her mom who this ride was from. Misty told her mom she and her
Wait, this is the night she actually disappeared now?
Yeah.
So she disappeared, her mom went to report her, but she came back and she was sitting on the bed.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about a separate occasion.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the actual day of her disappearance.
Okay.
So Misty told her mom that she and her friend would take the last bus home, and although her mom was a bit nervous about this, she knew Misty had taken the bus on her own before, and she agreed, so that was fine.
And what year?
92. Misty's friend Trina couldn't go unless she was getting a ride home, so Misty's mom lied to Trina's guardian, saying she was going to give them a ride home. That's pretty standard, I guess. I don't know. Actually, a parent wouldn't do that.
No, that's totally unethical of a parent to lie to another parent to like get on the good side of the kids.
Yeah.
That's terrible parenting.
So the girls ended up missing the last bus. So Misty calls her mom and tells her. And her mom, obviously very angry, tells her like she has to figure it out. She has to find a ride home because she couldn't leave work. She was working overnight and she worked with like elderly patients. She couldn't leave. Misty said she would call an 18-year-old friend named Ruben, even though she knew her mom hated Ruben and hated that they were friends. So he had creepily showed interest in Misty. Remember, Misty being 14, very young, even though she was just 14. But since he drove, Misty would like play into it and like take advantage, basically. Her mom said,
I don't think 14-year-olds are really taking advantage of 18-year-olds. I feel like she's just...
Maybe in a small town when you have to get around for driving for purposes.
I don't know. I think she was probably actually interested.
Yeah, sure. Either way, she was definitely like, they were talking on the phone and stuff. Her mom had said no to Ruben picking her up and told her to find another ride and then call her immediately back to let her know who she was getting a ride with. And at this time, Trina decides to leave and just walk home since she lived pretty close by. And so she left and Misty was alone, and her mom continued to wait for the phone call, but that call never arrived. But she's not worried at first because she's like, well, it's late. I assume Misty made it home somehow. So she tries calling the house, but no one picks up. But that's normal because Misty's sleeping.
So Misty and her friend are where when they split up?
They go into town to call the mom from a payphone into the small town.
Okay.
From the fair.
Okay.
So when the mom gets home the next morning, she calls out for Misty and no one is home. So the mom starts calling around to all her friends, relatives that live nearby, and after hearing from no one, she calls Ruben, who says she did call him. So Ruben says Misty did call her, but he couldn't pick her up because he didn't have enough gas, so he said no. So that's that.
Okay.
So the mom, Diana, we'll call her Diana moving forward. She's mentioned a lot. So Diana goes to the police and they tell her that they can't do anything until 30 days have passed. And this is the Puyallup police station. And that until then, she's just a runaway. She knows Misty hasn't run away, so she goes down to the local sheriff office in charge of the town where they live. So they don't live in Puyallup, they live in like Piana, somewhere else. I don't remember the exact name. So she goes to that sheriff office, our hometown one, and they tell her that the police is totally wrong and she can file a missing report. So she does that with her hometown sheriff office, but can't with the police in Puyallup, where Misty actually went missing.
And this is the morning when she gets home after she realizes Misty's gone?
Pretty much immediately. When she gets home, she gets a call from Trina, and Trina tells her that she had walked home leaving Misty. So the mom calls Ruben again, but this time the roommate answers, Tim, and the mom asks Tim if Ruben had been home all night, and the roommate says no, and that Ruben and his uncle had actually gone that night to pick up Misty.
That's good information getting by the mom there.
Yeah. So a little while later, she calls back and she actually speaks to Ruben, and he says the roommate got it wrong and they had just gone out to a party not to pick up Misty.
Well, the roommate didn't get it wrong. He would never give that specific of info.
Yeah. So at this point, there's three versions, right? So the first time Ruben said he stayed in, the roommate said Ruben went to pick up Misty, and then Ruben again says he went to a party and didn't stay in.
So to me, he went to pick up Misty for sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
And now I'm suspecting him because he preemptively was telling the mom that he didn't pick her up. He knew that.
Yeah, he's changing
happened.
His story.
Yeah.
That's usually an issue.
Okay.
So Tammy, a woman working at the sheriff's office. So the sheriff is in the hometown and the police station is in Puyallup. Remember, this gets a little confusing. So Tammy, working at the sheriff's office, had spoken to the mom that morning, and she felt like off about this case. She was like, this, in her mind, it wasn't a typical runaway case. So she speaks to her superior, who agrees with her. So they put a young deputy, Brian Coburn, on the case. He goes around to her friends, asks if they've seen her, and they all say no, so he leaves it at that. He's like, doesn't take interest at all, really. Really bad police duty all around for this case, yeah. So the mom, realizing no one's really doing anything, she prints out flyers, she hangs them everywhere and starts talking to people. And she eventually tracks down and talks to the bus driver that drove the route the night Misty went missing. And he says he saw Misty around 9:20 p.m. in Puyallup and told her about an alternative route she could take to get home. But before he even finished talking, she started walking away. Like, she didn't even care. She was like, you know, he can't take me home. I'm just gonna like leave.
That's weird.
I think that's normal for a 14-year-old. You're like, how do I get home now? You're just like stressed or panicked or like trying to figure it out.
You don't let the person end a sentence. You just walk away. That's weird.
Yeah, you remember being a teenager? How many times did we walk away from our parents? I walked away. Well,
yeah, my parents in some situations, but like a nice bus driver who's just trying to help you, I'd let him finish his sentence and be like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, maybe. So friends and family would often stop by to check in on things, including Ruben, who would ask if anyone had heard from her. And the mom would always just say like, no, and we haven't heard anything from her or the police. So he would just like walk away. He would just come, ask, and then like leave. So it's just weird, I guess, because he's not like close to the family anyway.
Yeah.
So after the 30 days passed, the mom goes down to the Puyallup police, where Misty went missing, to file the missing persons report because she could now. And for the most part, police don't take this case seriously, just assuming she had run away. But they do send a couple officers out to check out things, including the fair, the grounds of the fair, and they talk to some workers there, but no one really knows anything or says anything.
Now I'm realizing she made the missing person call a month earlier.
Yeah, that does come back to haunt her.
So, of course, when a person disappears and they were just reported missing, false report a month ago.
But they don't realize this at first. They
Okay.
they didn't check in on that, but that's a good callback, yeah. So the man in charge at the police station, Officer Carver, remember that name? He doesn't do much for the case either. And the sheriff office, the sheriff in her hometown, the superior at that office, even faxes over some papers to Carver with the note saying that he didn't think this was a standard runaway case. But Carver does nothing. He doesn't really care. He's just like, this is a runaway, point blank, end of case. So instead of digging into the Misty case, Carver digs into her mom's background and finds that the mom had some serious alcohol issues and even some welfare fraudulence on her record. So obviously now he's biased. He's like, this is not a good woman to begin with. And they found, like Matt mentioned, they found the original missing person report that the mom had filed, which led them to believe, furthermore, she was a runaway because she had done this before. And so they're like, well, the mom is obviously lying because she did it once, she didn't retract her statement, she's lying again.
I mean, when we're looking at it from, obviously this is like a missing person, now we know, but I think when you're in it and the police, they see all this stuff, welfare fraud, missing person reported a month earlier, it's illogical to kind of go the way that they went. And
I mean, I don't know. I think you would dig deep, but like, or, you know, you would do something.
Because you can't dig deep on everything. There's other priorities too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. So 2 weeks into her disappearance, Carver goes, so 2 weeks after this, after like the missing report is filed, Carver goes to her high school and starts to question some kids. And at the time, like Misty was very popular in high school, so a lot of girls liked her, wanted to be in her friend group. So they also wanted to just be associated with the case. So they were making false statements saying they had seen her here, they had seen her there. And while like later on, years later, it comes out that they were all false and they admit that they were just lying. At the time, the police believed all these statements, and that led them to believe like, okay, she's definitely she's definitely a runaway because of all these sightings. So we're just going to take her off the missing persons list. So that's what they did. And the police don't interview anyone else that they come in contact with, that she had come in contact with, like Trina or Ruben. They don't ever interview them, which is like, come on. Like, that's the basic, right?
You should interview Ruben, yeah.
Trina, too. She was literally with her that night. So the next day, Carver goes on to the Seattle radio station and tells everyone that Misty isn't missing, she's just a runaway, and her mom actually knows where she's hiding and just wants attention. So really shitty on the part of the
I don't understand why in some of these cases, the police feel like they need to be activists and like vocal about it. Like the Stephen Avery case.
Because they're just bad, they're bad at their job.
The district attorney or whatever, he like immediately, as soon as evidence came in, he's like saying, this guy's for sure guilty. You shouldn't be doing that, right?
Not at all, but like they think they've seen it all, so they just 100% know, and they're just ultimately bad at their job, I think. So everyone stops looking. People take down flyers, media outlets stop writing stories, and everyone basically turns on Diana, the mom. It's like she tries to get help, but no one wants to help. So here comes Corey Boba. He's a private investigator, and he's obsessed with another like serial killing that has happened in a nearby area like Kingston. It's called the Green Rivers Killing.
There's a very famous killer.
Oh, you know about it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't.
He's pretty famous. So this detective probably just has like a big wall in his house, like arrows pointing to different people.
He was obsessed. So he wanted to find the killer, and he even thought it was his friend Randy at some point, but in 2001, Randy is actually proven not to be the Green River Killer, and that's just a side note.
What do you think about people like that live their life just focused on one case? Their home is like completely...
I think it's a sad obsession.
I think that in one instance, but then it's also kind of admirable that like they're so focused on this one thing.
But like, what are they avoiding,
Yeah, there's probably...
I don't know. It could go either way. So Corey was constantly badgering the police, and they were pretty sick of him. He was always trying to get info, trying to give info, and they had written him off as just like a madman. Like this guy's crazy.
The detective?
Corey, yeah. So he was like a private investigator, but to the police, he's really just no one, you know? So Corey thought he had identified a pattern in the Green River killings. So there were two other girls that went missing in the previous years in Puyallup, and both bodies were found in the same exact area. And he thought, so one went missing I don't remember the years, but they both went missing 2 years and 1 month apart. And to him, for some reason, this meant a pattern was existed. So he believed that in September of 92, a third girl would go missing.
That makes
and
no
guess
sense.
who went missing?
Okay, so he has 3 data points, and he's just assuming.
He has 2 data points, and he
thinks
assumes it's a pattern.
And then the third happened, so it confirmed his pattern.
Yeah. I don't know, coincidence or pattern?
Could be coincidence.
Yeah.
But I'm sure even if this Misty
does
girl
2 even make a pattern?
No, you need 3. So that's the thing. Like, I bet you if some other girl went missing, like 120 miles away, he would make that fit his pattern too.
Yeah, but this was all in the same exact area, coincidentally. So Corey finds out about Misty, to his happiness, of course, and calls Diana saying, I knew this would happen, and the police won't listen to me. And he tells Diana, he says, your daughter is dead, but I know where she is. So he's the only person on her side. So she obviously goes along with him because no one else is supporting her in this instance.
Miley, move.
So Corey tells Carver, you guys are following, right? So Corey is
Detective.
this PI, and Carver is the Puyallup police investigator.
Yeah. I'm having some pork rinds.
So Corey finds out about. Oh no. Corey tells Carver that he knew about this killing all along and knows exactly what happened, but again, Carver just dismisses it, obviously, naturally. He's a crazy man to them. It turns out that the case is now on the hands of Coburn. So Coburn was that deputy that was put on the case from the hometown. And that's because it's now a runaway case. So once it stopped being a missing persons case because Deputy Carver took her off the missing list, it goes back to the jurisdiction of where she lives. So it changed jurisdictions, and now Coburn's on the case. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that interesting though. I was looking for bigger details.
No, I love jurisdictional
Okay.
stuff. It was one of my favorite things in law school. So Coburn also thinks she's just a runaway and says if they do ever fight, he's like, they're all just terrible people in my mind. And he tells Corey, he's like, but if we do ever find her, we're not going to tell you or the mother. And he just says these terrible things.
Corey?
Coburn.
Oh, okay.
The deputy. So Corey threatens to get the media involved. So the Coburn, that sheriff department, they set up a small-time drug bust to essentially arrest him. And he's charged with several drug counts, facing 4 years in prison. So Coburn, the deputy, tells Diana, the mom, that she needs to detach herself from Corey, and she is eventually convinced to get a restraining order against him. But 2 weeks after filing, she decides she would rather have him on her side and get rid of the order, which makes sense. She's alone, she has no one to help her out, so why not have at least Corey there? So after 30 days, Misty officially becomes a missing person and is placed back on the missing persons list just as a formality. 2 months after she goes missing, 2 months after she went missing, the Green River killings case is reopened, and the 2 girls that were killed prior to Misty, so those pattern killings, they go on the list for killings in association with the Green River killings. So they become associated with that.
Okay.
That serial killer. So Corey finds out where the other 2 girls were found and decides to search the same area with a group of people, but they ultimately find nothing. So on December 2nd, so this is months later, her case is upgraded to a missing person under suspicious circumstances, and the police believe there was foul play at hand.
What is the mom thinking during this time? Is she on board with the Green River Killer theory? Is that what she's going with? Because to me, I call the man that was last in contact with her, and he says, I didn't leave home that night, and then we find out, he went and picked up my daughter.
But what is she, I don't think she could do anything about that. I think
well, you can report that to the police, and you would at least think he's the prime suspect.
She's doing what she thinks is best because she doesn't know who else to follow. She has no one but Corey. The police completely have written her off. They think she's a drunk, welfare fraudulent woman, a liar.
Well,
right?
she is those things.
I mean, no, it turned out like the welfare fraudulence wasn't actual. Like, she didn't realize she was doing it. She went down and she told the welfare office what was happening, and she paid all of the welfare like stamps off.
Okay.
So she was cleared of that. So the case is upgraded, like I mentioned, and then the case is transferred back to where she went missing in Puyallup. So we're back in Puyallup. That same month, Diana is at the supermarket and she sees Ruben, but oddly, he bolts into a van and he drives off with another man. On January 10th, 1993, so this is several months later, the following year, a girl is abducted 5 minutes away from where Misty went missing. A guy is like, you know, he's, what's it called? He's catcalling and saying, like, he's screaming at her $20 for above the waist, $40 for below the waist, but she ignores him, and eventually, like, she's so scared, she starts to run, so he chases her down, drags her into his car, and then drives a bit, rapes her, and drops her down a 20-foot ravine.
Ruben did this, or a person did this?
No, a person.
Okay.
She manages to crawl out, she goes to the neighbor's house and explains what happened. And then 5 days later, Robert Hickey is arrested according to the exact car and her gun wrapper being found in that car.
Robert Hickey's a new person, right?
New suspect,
Okay.
maybe. So towards the end of January, Diana goes on a show with Trina, the friend, to talk about Misty, and she's also on that show with a homicide detective named Jim Doyen in a nearby county. Jim Doyen's another person you want to remember. This detective gets interested and feels like something's off. So the next week he goes to Highway 10 where the other girls were found and spends 6 hours searching but comes up with nothing.
Okay.
Shortly after this, Corey realizes his mistake and that he'd been searching the wrong area, originally thinking it was the north side, but it was actually the south side of Highway 10. So he sets out another search, telling the media, gathering people to help, and on February 7th, the search team goes out to the south side, and they find a pair of blue jeans, a girl's underwear, and a blue sock. And Diana immediately recognized the jeans as her own that she had lent to Misty that night, and she knew Misty was wearing them when she went missing.
That's big then, okay.
That's huge.
Green River Killer.
So the detective, Jim, who was searching there a week prior, had not found anything, so it seemed almost too perfect that her clothes were suddenly found.
People miss stuff on searches all the time now.
Yeah, so everyone started to think Corey planted it there, but they did forensics of the dirt surrounding the clothes, and it was found that it was unlikely that the clothes were ever planted. They had been there for months. So Corey's off the hook. The clothes definitely belonged to Misty. We're in good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is like right at the same area that bodies were found from the Green River Killer?
Yeah, from the other, they were somewhat near in the same area of the other two girls that went missing.
So to me, I'm thinking Green River Killer now.
So in the meantime, Corey, remember the private investigator, he pleads guilty to all the drug charges, thinking like the police would be lenient because he helped out so much, but they are not. And he gets 14 months in prison.
I mean, you don't just assume things. Don't you negotiate for this?
Maybe dumb people just assume things. I don't know.
Oh, they'll take it easy on me.
But funny enough, the police realize they don't know how to move forward without his help. So they go to Corey in jail, ask for his help, and Corey says no, because ultimately he wants the glory. He wants to find Misty on his own. So meanwhile, Jim Doyen is pursuing new leads in Misty's case, and he starts to interview people, finally interviewing people. I was so excited, including Trina. So Trina confirms Misty's jeans and the navy socks. Great. Trina confirms everything about Misty being a virgin, not drinking or smoking, like just a really good girl. And Doyen, the homicide detective, also finds out that they never planned to catch the bus home, but in fact they had actually planned to be picked up by Ruben. So they called Ruben.
Why would Trina hold that information this whole time?
Because she's scared. She's 14. I don't know.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's terrible. People do it all the time, though. They hold info.
Okay.
So they called Ruben 5 times, and after reaching him, he said no because he had no gas. So that's just Trina's account. She doesn't trust Ruben, but he doesn't think.
Okay.
Ruben
Ruben's
would
been
hurt
talking to Trina during this whole time, I bet.
Maybe. Let's see. So she doesn't think Ruben would ever hurt her, though. That's just her opinion. So nothing strange happened at the fair. Misty called her mom, and nothing else had happened that was strange at the fair. And Misty had called her mom after walking into town from a payphone because by the time they realized Ruben couldn't pick them up, they had missed the bus. And then another thing that comes up is Trina actually didn't walk home on her own. She called her gross looking. So I've seen pictures of all these men, very gross looking, no offense. Or offense because they're terrible men. So Trina didn't walk home. She called her 23-year-old boyfriend, Mike, to pick her up.
How old's Trina?
14.
Okay.
And Misty actually, according to Trina, refused to take a ride from Mike, who had offered to take her home because he made her really uncomfortable. And if you see a picture of this guy, you'd be like, yeah, he makes me uncomfortable.
So a lot of things going on here. I knew girls when I was 14 that were dating 23-year-old guys.
You did?
Yeah. I mean, it was
didn't.
It was super weird. Miley's just going nuts over here. But these girls weren't the way you're describing Misty. They're not like not smoking, not drinking alcohol. Like they're doing all that stuff. They're not the most like reserved girls.
Yeah, well, Trina's saying this, so maybe Trina's just trying to cover herself.
Because Trina is one of them. She's like, she is that too. She's dating a 23-year-old man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible that they weren't like that. It's possible.
And
that
she's
they were.
withholding all this information. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Are Ruben and her boyfriend friends?
No.
Okay.
Oh my God, Miley. When Mike was 16, Mike, Trina's boyfriend, now 23, he was arrested for juvenile rape, but he was never charged. And he also has personal ties to the two girls that went missing prior to Misty. Weird.
What are the ties?
I don't know.
Okay.
We just know they have ties. So, according to Trina's account, he drops her off and leaves after 10 minutes. So did he go back for Misty? That's possible.
He drops Trina off at home.
Stays for 10 minutes and bounces. That's just my thinking. And then in April, so 2 months later, he sells his car. But the police actually sneakily buy it and they do a forensic testing, but nothing comes back positive or like connecting him. And even after being questioned about everything, including the past alleged rape and the two girls and Misty, there was no connection to him, so they really couldn't pin anything on him. Nothing came of it.
Okay.
So Carver, the officer at Puyallup Station, remember?
Uh-huh.
He dismisses the idea that Misty has been a victim of a serial killer, but they eventually decide to talk to Ruben. That police station talks to Ruben.
You got 3 solid leads, right? You got serial killer Ruben and the other guy, 23-year-old guy.
Robert Hickey, too.
I think Ruben's still my man, though.
Yeah. So Ruben's boss, Frank, is the one that actually calls the police because Ruben is like saying super weird things like he knows where Misty's body is found 6 miles from where her clothes were, and just like basically admitting to this crime for no reason. And
well, you look cool.
Yeah, that's one thing. So when the police would show up at his work, he would bolt, but he would like run away, but he's eventually cornered by the police and questioned. And he said, so this gets good. He said that Misty called twice, but he said no to giving her a ride, and she was really mad about this. That's what he says. And then regarding the comments to his boss, he said them to just like get him off his back, which is odd because if you're being like harassed by someone who's like, do you know what happened? You don't say, yeah, I know what happened. You say, I don't know what happened, right?
That makes no sense.
Yeah. So,
maybe in like an extreme case where the boss was really every single day is like, what happened to Misty? And then you're just like, I killed her and she's 6 miles from the close.
No, that's not, I would never do that.
I would do it like satirically if the guy was just every single day nonstop.
Yeah, but then you'd be in trouble.
I don't think so.
So we also find out that Ruben suffers since he was a child from blackouts. And he claims he blacked out that entire night Misty went missing. But he remembers coming around the next morning, like coming to his consciousness, and he drives 60 miles round trip to his grandma's. So he had enough gas to drive 60 miles round trip to grandma's in the morning, but not enough to pick up Misty.
Well, he might have filled it up.
Apparently he didn't. He didn't make any stops. He said he woke up, went straight to grandma's.
Okay.
So he was asked outright if he could have just blacked out, picked up Misty, and heard her. And he said he has no idea because he doesn't recall anything. So now there's 4 accounts, right, of what happened that night.
Yeah.
Because he told Diana he went to a party. And Unfortunately, the police don't do great work, so Ruben's car or grandma's house is never checked. And the grandma lived in 100 miles of land, so they just obviously didn't take the time to check out the land. Like, he could have done something with Misty, dropped her off there, buried her, right? Come back? Who knows? And then polygraphs come back inconclusive, but apparently he was trying to put himself to sleep during the polygraph, which is like a known tactic to get away with a polygraph test, which is fascinating. I didn't know that you could do that. And he eventually sold his car to a wrecking yard after the police interview.
Okay.
So they also talked to Tim, Ruben's roommate, remember?
Yep.
And the roommate said that Ruben had a short temper and he wouldn't put it past him to harm someone. He also remembered Misty calling because Ruben had his 13-year-old girlfriend over at the house, and then when Misty called, the 13-year-old girlfriend got very jealous and she stormed out. And then after she stormed out, Ruben left 10 minutes after Misty called and returned home around 12 a.m. So
that's a great window for killing someone. There's no real motive here, though. Just like randomly being a murderer, I guess, like terrible serial killer.
And he didn't have an alibi for the time Misty went missing, but he passed his second polygraph test, so he was marked off the suspect list.
Polygraph tests mean nothing, though.
I know, and he didn't have an alibi, so it's like the police obviously just don't care.
He shouldn't be marked off.
I know. Okay, so we're getting towards the end. So the case went quiet for a couple years, but towards the late 90s, forensic tests done on her underwear came out, and testing was redone again, and there were hairs found on her underwear, but they didn't match Diana, Misty, or anyone she knew. So the hair could have been from a killer, it could have been random hair because it had been there for months, like it might not be anything. And then there was also fibers and 3 paint chips found on the underwear, but the paint chips could have also been from cars passing by because her clothes were like right on the side of Highway 10. So nothing really adds up, and then there's no other big leads. And then in 2000, Diana, the mom, sadly declared Misty dead. So the big suspects are...
Well, there's Ruben. I would say he's probably the prime suspect because the most incriminating thing to me is the initial call when the mom calls and he says he was home all night and just immediately tries severing ties with any interaction with Misty because it seems like he already knows something went wrong. So to me, that's big.
So he
multiple accounts of the night.
He conveniently blacks out. He drives to grandma's house, unexplained. He doesn't say why. He just drives round trip, and he brags about knowing where her body is.
Yeah.
Like that to me is like.
He just doesn't really have a motive for why he would do it, I guess.
He really liked her. He would on the phone they would talk, and he'd be like, the mom would overhear him saying like, "Just looking at you makes me very horny."
But
I mean, obsession.
Would you just kill someone though?
Or maybe she was resisting and he accidentally raped her and then killed her and he didn't know what to do with her body. Like, I don't know.
That's
accidents
possible.
happen.
Yeah.
And then there's Mike, the 23-year-old boyfriend of Trina.
Give us your theories, guys.
And Robert Hickey. Those are the 3.
Wait, who's Robert Hickey?
Remember he abducted the 15-year-old girl.
Yeah, okay.
In a similar fashion how Misty was abducted by the cat calling her.
I don't think you can really just correlate the two. There's no evidence of him being associated. He just did a similar crime in a similar area.
Yeah.
If he did a bunch of them, then maybe, but just one, I don't think so.
Well, when he comes out of jail, he does it again.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
And then what about the Green River guy?
That's solved. Eventually, but it wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah, Green River was solved, but it was for sure not related to this.
Not. Yeah, they didn't pursue. The police literally pursued nothing in this case, which is so frustrating because there's so many potential leads. Did you guys like this one, or was it too much? Should I dial it back?
A lot of people saying it's Ruben for sure. I think that's got to be the most likely suspect, I guess. It just is kind of odd. So I guess in the scenario where Ruben did it, what happened was Mike goes and picks up Trina, and then Ruben separately goes and picks up Misty. And then something just happens in the car, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think he tries to force himself on her, and if she is in fact a good girl, she's not yeah, let's do it.
She's not a good girl. She's dating an
You
18-year-old.
can't assume that.
She ran away from home. She's dating an 18-year-old man.
She's hormonal and 14.
So, yeah, I guess I'm going with Ruben. And Ruben's just off the hook, no charges or anything?
No, nothing.
What happened to baby Lisa? We still don't know. People saying they like this one.
Okay. I thought it would be too confusing. Where's the knife?
Jealous girlfriend, someone says. Huh.
Trina?
The girlfriend that was over at,
Oh, the 13-year-old?
13-year-olds don't really, I guess.
Well, how would
they
she
murder
know where
sometimes.
Misty was, I guess? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, though. That's a good... I didn't think about that. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready for mine.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, you guys ready for this? Let's switch topics here.
I'm just adding more butter to my waffles.
Here tonight, I'm going to take you on a ride. The story,
I'm so excited.
the murder of Tair Rada, 13 years old in Israel. This is a foreign crime, Israel. There is a documentary on Netflix about this. It's really good. If you guys like this, the documentary is great.
Oh, now I remember.
You remember it?
Oh my God, this is a phenomenal but like really sad, terrible case.
And the name of the documentary, I said it earlier, where is it?
I remember watching this. This was so sad. Like I couldn't even watch it at times. Oh my
Shadow
God.
of Truth. Shadow of Truth on Netflix. It's not in English though, but it's worth it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So December 2006, 13-year-old Tair Rada of Katzrin, Israel, decided to skip the last period of that day. She hung out with friends in the schoolyard before going back into the building to get a drink of water. She was last seen by students going up a staircase leading to a middle floor where 10th grade classes were taught. So that's the last sighting of her. Going up a staircase leading to a middle floor of the school. There's like 4 or 5 floors in the school, I think. So later that afternoon, she failed to return home. She returned home before her parents usually. So her mom came home later that night, realized that Tair had never arrived, and a search began immediately. The mom was like, okay, she's not home, something's wrong, what's going on here? This has never happened before. So very quick work. The whole neighborhood bands together, they start searching, and at 7 p.m., her body is found that night. So the whole search took only a few hours. They find her body in a locked stall in the girls' bathroom at school. Her throat was slit twice, and then there's multiple cuts on her face, torso, hands, maybe defensive wounds. We don't really know yet. Initial reaction by the police is, of course, jealous classmates, that type of thing. Because, it's hard to get in a school and murder someone if you're not someone working
Already in there.
or a classmate, yeah. So that night, police detain a homeless person who was lingering around the school that day, apparently. And then 3 days later, they detain the school gardener. Both have their alibis checked out, and they're released. Nothing there. A week later, police detain a man named Zadarov. That's his last name, Roman Zadarov. I'm just going to call him Zadarov. Police stated that he was the prime suspect on television news shortly after arresting him. Detaining.
Who was he?
Is detaining and arresting different?
Yeah.
Okay, they detained him.
Who was he?
Zadarov. He's a maintenance man,
Okay.
and he would go on to confess and even reenact the murder shortly after being detained. A day later, his attorney informed the police and media that he recanted his confession. And I don't know, he's a foreigner to Israel. He didn't speak the language that well. So that's a lot of why maybe he confessed, or like he didn't fully understand what was going on a lot of the time. There was no translator, I don't think. And all of this is documented in the documentary. So the motive for the murder, according to police, initially was the fact that Tair insulted Zadarov after he denied her request for a cigarette. Her family and friends stated that she did not smoke, so this made no sense. Also, rude behavior, not a characteristic of hers. And a lot of this is, like always, it's like, candy coated. I'm sure she's maybe smoked without the knowledge of her parents, like things like this.
Yeah.
She wasn't that great of a. Oh, I mean, she's 13 years old, right? So she's probably great, but she's like has some flaws also. But the mother is like a big actor in this whole thing. She's like very outspoken about how awesome her daughter was, which everyone I guess kind of is. So police later changed the motive to being sexual in nature, because the first motive kind of falls through. So that's pretty much most of the story. But now we get into the trial and the potential alibi of Zadarov. So the time of murder initially was determined to be between 1:20 p.m. That's the last sighting of her walking up the stairs, 1:20 p.m.
In school.
In school. And 1:30 p.m. when a girl testified to being in the bathroom and not noticing anything out of the ordinary going on. So apparently in that 10-minute span, that's when something must have happened. That's the initial reports.
So she was already dead when the girl was in there?
Apparently. At this time, Zadarov was at the school gate on the phone with his employer, and this is corroborated by phone records. So the call started on his phone at 1:23 p.m., right in the middle of that timeline. 2 security guards also saw him, and he was awaiting delivery for some tiles and went back to school after 1:30. So that's like a pretty solid,
alibi.
tight alibi there. Students that last saw Tair walking up the stairs, they didn't see anyone walking behind her, anything out of the ordinary whatsoever. It's just her alone walking up to the bathroom.
Which could be a lie.
By
Cover
the
up.
students? Could be, if there's some inside play. Yeah, like a student is
They're
responsible.
protecting like a popular person or
Yeah,
something?
I guess I didn't think of that. The timeline was later changed to being between 1:30 p.m. and 2 p.m. because he came back in at 1:30. A little after 2 p.m., Zadarov was sighted in the cafeteria looking like nothing out of the ordinary had happened. He continued to work as usual, and then he went home at 5:30 p.m. So, I mean, it could have happened from 1:30 to 2. It could have really happened from any time from when she went into the bathroom until she was found, I guess. I guess it's more likely to happen close to when she's in there, though, or
Yeah.
initially going in.
Especially if
Because-
someone else was in there and didn't notice anything, like she didn't hear someone peeing
Yeah.
or anything, you know?
Confession and reenactment. So his alibi checks out pretty solidly, in my opinion, for that time frame. So now we go to the confession and reenactment, and this is the most intense part of the documentary because you can actually see the entire uninterrupted recording of him walking through the school doing the reenactment and make up your mind for yourself. Is he reenacting something that he actually did, or is he reenacting something that the police kind of told him he kind of knows a little bit about? Yeah. So it's really interesting. So his confession and reenactment contained false and incorrect information. The location and the way the murder was committed were not consistent with the crime scene.
That's good for him.
Investigators told Zadarov details of the crime that were later proven to be untrue, but at the time they thought were true, and that's what he said in his confession. So like, I don't know. I think it was mostly with like the motion of the knife. He was like, the detectives initially thought it was like right hand and then like later left hand, something like that. That's not exactly what it was, but he then in his story was saying like, yeah, I did it like this. And then later on you find out that's not how it actually went down. So then he's already like confessed to something that the police thought was true, but it wasn't actually true in the long run. The reenactment shows a number of signs, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, that Zadarov has no idea what he's actually doing.
Yeah.
So he tries to continue to the upper floor. He doesn't, well, when you walk up the first set of stairs to the bathroom she was killed in, he starts like turning to go up the next set of stairs to the bathroom he thinks it's on, like the next floor up. And what happens, which is crazy, is the cops, they know it's all being uninterruptedly recorded. So the cops, they go and they like adjust his handcuffs. And then they kind of like lead him back to the first door that she was actually murdered in, to try making it seem like there was nothing wrong with his handcuffs. They're just like, you know, kind of redirecting it. what is it? Oh, so when he's actually doing the reenactment of the murder, the way that her throat was cut was like the wrong side of the body, the wrong motion. And he never mentioned anything about blows to the head, which there was 7 of them on the autopsy. And after she was dead, there was a cut on her wrist, just to like, make sure, I guess. And he didn't mention anything about that. Which, I mean, you could maybe not leave some details out, right?
You're not supposed to when you're doing a reenactment like that. Or confessing to the crime.
Also, I would imagine killing someone's like a rather intense experience to where maybe you don't remember everything.
Yeah, you like black it out.
Yeah.
But like that's a really like intense way of killing someone. Like the damage whoever caused her. Mm-hmm. You remember if you slit her wrist at the end to like make sure.
It seems like that's maybe a plan you have going in. You're like, when I'm all done, I'll slit the wrist.
Yeah, and so like it's premeditated. Yeah. For sure.
Then after reenacting the murder, he initially opened the door of the stall to walk out, which in the actual murder is not what happened because there was blood leaking out, and there's a little passage under the door. You know how some bathrooms have like the big thing? This just it was like a real door, so it was just like a little passage. Blood was going to leak out of it if he opened it, so he had like the killer put something against it, I think, and climbed over into the next stall. But when he was reenacting it, he just opened the door and left. And then the cops are like, "No, how'd you climb out? We know you climbed out." So then he climbs out and he climbs over the door over the door to get into the area where you'd wash your hands, when really the killer went into another stall. And there's footprints that were not Zadorov's in blood on the toilet seat, the lid.
How are they not matching
walls.
the prints?
That's a good question.
What do you mean they don't do anything about the prints?
No, not really. I'm sure they're always like searching for.
Are they though? Like, do they even care? They're obviously forcing someone to do a false confession and they know it.
It seems like that's the case, yeah. Zadorov was convicted in 2010 and is still in jail to this day.
Oh my God.
Most people in Israel believe he is innocent, and he has appealed and been convicted, or not convicted, but like, is it convicted? Can you get convicted more than once?
No, you don't get convicted. He's
been appealed multiple times and always lost.
Yeah, he lost his appeals.
This is one of the most famous cases in Israel. And here's some other info on the case. Just some bullet points. More than 60 fingerprints were recovered from the crime scene, none matching Zadorov, some in blood, and not matching Tair either. Hair was found gripped in Tair's hand, a few strands of hair, like a struggle.
And they don't test the hair?
They did test, but they didn't get a match.
How do you not get a match? You test all the girls in the school, right?
I don't know how many people they tested. It did not match Zadorov, though. A total of 150 biological samples were tested from the crime scene, and none matched Zadorov.
So this, to me, is just a corrupt justice system.
It seems to be the case,
It's just pure corruption, because...
I don't know if it's as much corruption as sometimes people get an idea in their head and they're just
Well,
not.
I mean, if it was a case that went through with the judge, if he was paid off, then that's corruption, right? Because he's not going to like admit he's going to be like, well, nothing points to Zadorov as the murder.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Once you get to the trial, I feel like anything's possible. Because like the jury, who knows what kind of jury you're going to get. And it's innocent until proven guilty, but when someone's sitting on trial, your initial reaction is like, that guy's guilty for sure.
I mean, I don't know how Israel is, but I know like in India, like getting paid off, juries and judges is more so common than you think. And like being threatened, like if you don't vote this way, we're going to kill your family. So like if Israel's anything like that, it's really easy to buy over a jury and a judge.
Okay. The murder weapon, according to the confession and reenactment, was a smooth blade utility knife. However, it was never found. In the reported confession, Zadorov said he placed it under the tiles that he was laying that day. The tiles were removed. No knife was ever found. And then 2 senior forensic medical experts testified that the murder weapon was committed with a serrated blade, not a smooth blade. And that's like pretty easy to tell. You can look at
Yeah.
the cuts on her skin.
Also, Paramedic 9310, thank you for the donation. Hey guys, came late. What was for dinner? We had bacon and protein waffles. So the protein waffles are a recipe on our food blog, Keto Connect on it, that you can just look up easily. It's a really simple recipe.
All of Roman Zadarov's belongings were tested and none showed positive results for blood. That's important, I think, because, I don't know. You could maybe not have blood on you, like if you change. But usually you have some, like, it's really hard to wash it all off, I think.
Yeah, but even if you try washing it off, there could be like specks and everything.
One of the students later testified in court that she saw under the bathroom stall where the murder was committed Tair's Puma shoes and blood. And there's like a lot of reports from the students that are hard to really corroborate, and like who knows
Youth
how.
All-Star, you forgot those shoes though. The second pair of shoes. Youth size All-Star shoes.
I didn't even realize that when I wrote it. Yeah, 2 pairs of shoes.
And blood.
Okay, and blood. And a long list of students went through, and this is not necessarily corroborated. I think it's the same way you were talking in your case. These are like 13, 14-year-old kids. When they hear there's a
Making
high-profile
statements.
murder, you know, yeah, was in the bathroom at that time. But a long list of students allegedly went through the bathroom around the murder time, while Tara apparently struggled with the murderer for some time, probably not too long. And some of them said they even noticed highly suspicious circumstances. So now we have theories.
I felt like there was so much more info in the documentary.
There's a little bit more info. What do you guys think?
What do you think?
Does Zadarov do it?
Why are my Super waffles so much drier than Quest?
Because Quest uses like 40%
Casein.
casein protein.
Makes them moister.
Isopure is 100% isolate.
Someone's saying no. That's who do you think did it, guys?
So theory 1, Zadarov. I'm pretty confident he didn't do it.
I'm 100% confident he didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much 100% too. Theory 2 would be some mix, maybe just a single student.
I would say a mix of students.
You think?
Yeah.
I think it's possible, but I also think if it's
A
more
group
than
of girls.
if it's more than one student, I find it hard for them not to have turned on each other.
They're protecting each other. That's what friends do, right?
Yeah.
Because then everyone else would get caught up. Everyone else would get in trouble and caught, and their lives would be ruined.
I guess I just think it's hard when stuff really goes down. I think it's hard for a 13-year-old to not talk.
I don't think so. Not in like another country where it really, I don't know. It's different. I think the culture is very different.
Some people saying the student.
Girl gang. Z
Girl
was
gang.
framed. Did Zadarov have kids that went to that school?
Well, that's all the theories except for this crazy plot twist. In 2012, 6 years after the murder, a man reports to police that his then girlfriend had confessed to him on the day of the murder. She had showed him the knife soaked in blood, her clothes soaked in blood, and he didn't report it to police at the time. That was his current girlfriend. So that has to run through your mind, like, this guy's dating a person who showed him bloody clothes and a murder weapon, didn't talk to police. He's probably also a little crazy, I would say. His ex-girlfriend, and she's always referred to as AK in the documentary and just in anywhere you read about this case.
And she was a student at the school?
No.
Oh.
Not a student at the school. Like an adult, 20-something, early 30s adult. No association with the school whatsoever. So this is just like out of left field. His girlfriend, referred to as AK, was arrested and brought in for questioning. While she was on a house arrest in relation to this case, she left her home and attempted to kill someone, and was subsequently sent to a psychiatric hospital without being further investigated for this case.
Oh. But it's hard to get into the school, you said, right?
I think it's pretty, difficult to get into the school.
Was there a reason? Oh, you're going to go more?
Yeah, there's more. An investigator finds that the boyfriend's account lines up with 2 students' original statements taken on the day or the day after the murder. They claim to have seen a suspicious woman in the bathroom.
And they don't mention this?
Fitting the description of AK's outfit, and one hears her say occupied from the restroom. Or they hear a voice saying occupied in the restroom.
So this is just a random murder.
Yeah, which is insane. Or maybe, we don't know. This is... So, AK is interviewed. She admits to having murderous impulses. She's really like feels like she's sometimes possessed by a she-wolf, like a wolf, and wanting to bathe in blood. So she's pretty crazy. These are all thoughts she has.
She was in a psych ward as well.
Yeah. So 3 years later, AK's roommate, the suspect, at the institution commits suicide. The roommate's best friend comes forward and says that AK confessed multiple times to her friend, her roommate, who just committed suicide, that she did the murder. And the documentary, so there's some, with documentaries, you always got to be like careful how much weight you're putting into them. So the information about this person, this is like new to the documentary. This wasn't really that investigated or like out in the public at the time. So this report that the person who committed suicide's friend gave to the documentary, that was like the first time it ever aired or ever was known. And then shortly after, May, whose friend was the suspect's roommate, she also committed suicide 3 days after giving this statement to the documentary filmmakers. Kind of confusing to follow all that. Okay, so how could this murder have potentially happened if this suspect did it, AK? And we have a story that's told by her boyfriend exactly how it might have happened, which I'll read once I get more water.
Someone said, how would she get out of the school covered in blood?
That's a good question.
People are saying jealous classmate.
That's about to be answered right here. So, when she entered the school, this is all quotes from the ex-boyfriend. When she entered the school, she wrapped fabric around her chest in an effort to flatten it. She wore a pair of male beige cargo pants and a black sweater. She was wearing a wig that we got a few years earlier and a cap. She had a large JanSport bag where she had plain silicone cleaning gloves, a hunting knife she bought in advance, and a change of clothes. He said the ex-boyfriend said his girlfriend went into the bathroom at the school and waited for almost 2 hours for the right moment to strike. When she heard someone come into the bathroom alone, she allegedly came out of the bathroom stall with the knife drawn, grabbed Rada by the shirt, and forced her into the bathroom stall where she allegedly murdered her. She said that when she started undressing Tair, girls came into the bathroom. One of them knocked on the stall door, and AK told her it was occupied, while blocking the crack under the door so blood wouldn't come out. After hearing no one was in the bathroom, she fled the scene. AK then returned home. She took a shower. When she was done, she called me while I was at work and told me she couldn't forget the smell of the blood. He said AK showed him the bag she packed for the murder. She showed me the clothes she wore, the wig, the knife that was there. It was all bloodied. The first thought that went through my head was to call the police. To this day, I don't know why I didn't do that.
You should have.
What do you guys think of that? Do you put a lot of stock in that? I kind of do.
Her boyfriend needs to get arrested too. Change of clothes in a backpack.
Is that criminal what he did? It must be, right?
Yeah, it's like concealing evidence, but you also get like aiding and abetting. I think.
Yeah, seems like it. And then the last piece of evidence, breaking news in 2018, a hair was found on Tair's body and it was tested and it matched AK's former boyfriend, the one who's reported all this to police.
So he did it.
No.
What?
Oh, I didn't even think of it like that. I just thought AK did it. No, I'm thinking AK still did it. Just his hair somehow got there. But now I need to read about it more. You're right. Was this all a cover-up? Oh my gosh.
It's funny how differently we both took that. How did you guys perceive it?
I perceived it as AK probably did it. Because the hair just, what's it called? Where it goes from someone.
Yeah.
Cross-pollination type thing.
Or his hair fell off on her clothes from the wig. No, the wig wasn't the boyfriend's. No, it was the boyfriend, people are saying. Boyfriend. Someone said AK. Someone said he did it and blamed his crazy girlfriend. Because, yeah, if she's already, crazy, known to be, has gone to a psych ward, it'd be easy.
Yeah, people are interpreting this as AK still did it. No one really thinks the boyfriend did it.
Oh. I mean, they're both in on it because he knew about it and still did nothing.
Yeah. And if you guys thought this case is interesting, I guess I kind of spoiled a lot of it for you, but the documentary is so good.
Yeah, people are asking for it. What's it called?
Shadow, what is it? Shadow of Truth.
Shadow of Truth. It's not English, but worth the
It's
reading.
worth it.
Yeah.
You'll finish it tonight if you start it right now.
Both of them were involved. Maybe.
Did they ever recover the weapon? No, they didn't recover the clothes or the weapon or anything like that.
It was AK. He was just protecting his girlfriend. Wouldn't Matt protect you? I don't think we'd protect each other in that instance.
If you murdered someone?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Would you protect me?
You wouldn't protect me?
I don't think I would. Would you protect me?
I mean, depending on the circumstances.
If you were if I was a she-wolf and I needed to bathe in someone's blood, you would protect me?
In that situation, no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But if it was something different, I might.
I'd be scared you'd want to kill me, though. So I'd have to, make sure you were definitely put away.
Oh, if you report me?
Yeah. The boyfriend didn't say what happened to the backpack? Yeah, I know. I guess maybe that she burned it or something. That's what I can imagine. What about the hair in her hand?
I think that might have been...
did she kill herself, AK?
No.
So can't they test the hair in her hand to AK? And the footprint?
I think they could. I think that's what they tested, and one of the hairs in her hand, that's the one that was found that matched the boyfriend.
AK is she in jail right now, or is she in a psych ward?
She's in a psych ward, I think.
She's in a psych ward. Related to this case, right?
No, for attempting to murder someone else, so they never pursued her for this case.
So I guess that makes it more believable that she would have done this murder because she's...
I mean, how insane of a person is that where you're waiting in a school bathroom during school?
People do crazy stuff.
With a school you aren't familiar with at all.
That's the best way to do it, right?
I guess so. The hair in her hand could have been wig hair. Yeah, that's true too. I think there's been a few retrials in this case. I think they're trying to get another one. Apparently, most people in Israel think he's innocent.
Zadorov?
What?
Or the boyfriend?
Zadorov.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely innocent at this point.
I guess there's crazy people.
I want that on my wedding vows. Through sickness and through health, through she-wolf and bathing in blood.
That's funny.
Funny, Rotten. You're funny. That was a good one, yeah. Picked a good one, babe.
Thank you.
All right.
Remember, guys, if you comment on the Facebook post, the one that says we are live now with your current favorite crime, mystery, anything like that.
Anything related.
You'll be entered to win a cookbook package.
Our cookbook, physical.
And our ebooks. There's
3
of them.
ebooks.
Yeah, he's still in jail.
I know. Poor
Zadorov.
guy.
Was the victim's family richer in politics? No. But a few of the students at the school that were like somewhat linked to things, or they were like interrogated a little bit, they had family that was in the police force. Victim's family was not really rich at all. I think they were maybe slightly underprivileged for the area.
Yeah. For Adnan's case, I would have to definitely like re-listen to the Serial podcast, because I would watch the HBO documentary, but it's horrendous.
Worst documentary I've ever seen.
So we might do that as a joint one of these days when we
Yeah.
have the time to listen to it all.
That'll be good.
Comment on the live video, or we're going live. What does that mean?
Oh,
No.
the one that says we're going live.
Yeah, on Facebook. We're going live.
Going to watch the documentary. Why don't you guys like the Adnan documentary? Because it's people reading, what's her name? Hey Min Lee's
And the cartoon.
diary.
And like the montages and the like, just the pictures. It was just poorly done in my opinion, especially for HBO.
Casey Anthony's another good case we could do. That one has some crazy twists that are just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, there are a lot of good ones.
That one was made for Nancy Grace. What do you guys think about Nancy Grace in general?
Nancy Drew.
Who's Nancy Drew?
Remember we were having this conversation last time?
Isn't Nancy Drew a book or something?
You don't remember this? Last
Yeah, I
Murder
do.
She Ate? Okay, yeah. We were just confused, but yeah, it's Nancy Grace.
Where can we leave Murder She Wrote suggestions?
On the Facebook post that says...
No, suggestions.
Oh.
Suggest them on the comments of this video once it goes live, once it gets posted. Or no, once it's done going live.
So we're about to sign off here in a minute or two. You can leave a suggestion. What?
Did you guys watch the whole thing? There's way more to it after that. What are you talking about? Oh, the Adnan case? Maybe we should just start watching on like episode 2, because the first episode was...
I was like, Matt was like trying to watch, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I just refuse.
They were wasting our time. It seemed like they were just trying to
drag it out.
Yeah.
For money's sake. Yeah, maybe we'll give it a go again.
And then I saw the Netflix one on Madeleine McCann, and it was like, wow, Netflix is a million times better than HBO. Because they
still had
made,
some lulls.
I think it was like 8 episodes, an hour each. Pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
And they had, in my opinion, like less of an interest. They're both pretty interesting cases.
But less facts and stuff and interviews and theories.
Yeah. I just want, when people talk about the Adnan one, I don't need to hear from like Rabia Chowdhury every time. I just want to hear the actual evidence of the case.
Who's Rabia Chaudhry?
She's like the Adnan's, she's like...
Cousin who's the attorney?
Yeah. She's just in everything Adnan related. She's there, and I'm just like, I don't want to hear your perspective on things.
She's a big part of it.
Yeah, of the defense. I just want to hear the objective facts and decide for myself.
Nothing's objective. It's all hearsay and testimonies from people. What is objective?
Well, people that are involved in the case, she has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's not objective.
What?
That's like testimonies. It's hearsay. It's like,
Yeah, so the facts of the case. I mean,
yeah. I think it's important to show, though, like, that there's such a big group of people behind his innocence.
I don't think there is.
I think it's good for, like, a documentary's sake. So it, like, plays at your heartstrings.
What other documentary does that?
I don't know. I haven't seen as many as you have. You're getting upset about this. We're
I'm
just
not
having
upset.
a conversation.
I just don't like Rabia Chowdhury. Please do the Madeleine McCann story. That is sad, yeah. For so long, the documentary actually changed my mind a little. I always thought the parents did it.
Yeah, and they lead with the parents doing it. They like trap you in, and you're like,
Yeah.
the parents did it, and then it's all of a sudden like, no, they totally like are trying to frame the parents.
Oh, they're saying we're frozen. All right, guys, we should probably end it then.
All right, this was fun. See
We'll
you
be
next week.
back next week. Sorry for freezing.